France, land of medieval castles, the best wineries in the world, gastronomy, iconic museums and paradisiacal beaches, France is part of the main tourist routes in Europe, and it is not difficult to understand why. Discover the main curiosities about this country that has diverse itineraries, for all types of tourists, charming villages, beaches with crystal clear waters, the Alps and much more. The first country in the world in terms of number of visitors, France receives around 77 million tourists every year, equivalent to 20% of the country's population. This means that this charming Central European country specializes in welcoming and entertaining visitors, and there is no shortage of tourist attractions for this. If you want to know everything about France, these 20 interesting facts will bring you very close to getting to know the country better. 1. French bread doesn't exist in France. Don't think you're going to go to a bakery and find that famous French roll. In fact, this famous bread that we are used to is actually Brazilian. However, the recipe emerged as an attempt to imitate real French bread. If you enter a bakery in France, take the opportunity to try different types of croissants, brioches, puff pastries, macarons, among many other wonderful things. 2. Anytime is time for wine. The French don't need a reason or celebration to open a bottle of wine. It's even very common there to drink wine at lunchtime, during the week, at business meetings. The largest wine exporter in the world considers the drink a food, and over time we are incorporating this custom too. 3. Who said dessert has to be sweet? Cheese is a very common habit since the French, contrary to what we imagine, don't eat so much sweets, but on the other hand, they always have some cheese to enjoy after meals. 4. Going out French doesn't exist. Who has never gone French at a party or meeting with family or friends? So it is. In France, no one usually leaves without being noticed. On the contrary, they like to say goodbye just like us. When this happens, the French say leave the English way. 5. Easter in France. The Easter holiday in France is celebrated on the Monday following Easter Sunday and not on the Friday, as most countries celebrate. 6. The Frenchman's diet is rich and healthy. The French eat well, they eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. It is very difficult to see a meal that does not contain some type of vegetable, and eating fruit for dessert is much more common than devouring those delicious sweets that we associate with French cuisine. 7. Markets are prohibited by law from throwing away food. In 2016, France became the first country in the world to ban commercial establishments from throwing food in the trash. When products are close to their expiration date, establishments need to donate them to charitable NGOs. 8. The baguette under the arm is real. Between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., after leaving work, many French people stop by a boulangerie and buy a baguette to eat for dinner, and as they are usually bigger than the packaging, they hang out and are usually carried under the arm. 9. Marry someone deceased. France must be the only country in the world where legislation allows you to marry someone who has already died, and this is more common than you think. Posthumous marriage has been taking place since 1803, and is included in Article 171 of the French Civil Code. It is usually granted for serious reasons, victims of a terrorist attack or war, for example. 10. French takes a shower every day, yes. What happens is that their bath is in fact much faster, at least than that of Brazilians, who usually take their time in the bath and make it a true magical ritual. The French usually refer to bathing as a shower, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes, but they shower every day, even in the cold. 11. A garment is worn several times before being washed. Brazil is a hot country, so because of this, Brazilians don't have the habit of repeating the same clothes, except for winter clothes. but in France a piece of clothing is worn many, many times before being washed, and they usually only put a piece of clothing in the wash if it is really dirty, stained, or smells really bad. 12. British punctuality extends to the French. Unlike us Brazilians, the French, like the British, tend to value punctuality. Even those 10 minutes late will be notified, accompanied by an apology for the delay. So if you're in France and schedule something with a local, be on time. 13. Serving wine is a typically masculine custom. We cannot generalize, but a curious thing about France is that the French, especially the older ones, do not look favorably on a woman helping herself to wine. As a matter of tradition or kindness, they believe that it is always the man who should serve the woman. 14. Greeting people with 2 kisses. In France, a kiss is a gesture of politeness and respect. It doesn't matter if you're meeting the person now, if they're friends or coworkers, if you're in a hurry, if they're men or women. Everyone has the custom of greeting each other with 2 kisses. 15. The meal is sacred. Did you know that, on average, a French person spends 2 hours and 22 minutes a day on their food, while in the rest of the world this time is usually 1 hour and 30 minutes? Eating in France is serious business and involves all stages: the appetizer, the starter, the main course, the cheese board, and, finally, the dessert, which can be forgotten and replaced with cheese. 16. Scooters are for adults. Many French people who live in big cities choose not to have a car, even because public transport works, is faster, cheaper, and takes them almost everywhere. However, many decide to upgrade and, instead of walking to work, go on a scooter. 17. Photography and cinema were invented in France. I bet that during a trip to France, photographic records are essential. But did you know that photography was invented by Frenchman Joseph Nice Niepce in 1826? As today we record everything so instantly, it is difficult to imagine that at the time, the technique took around 8 hours to record the image. 18. The cemetery is a tourist spot in Paris. Thinking about visiting a cemetery may sound a little strange, but the Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris is one of the most famous in the world, and many people include it in their itinerary. This is because there are several personalities from philosophy, music, literature, cinema, and painters buried there. 19. Supermarkets cannot throw away food. Since 2016, supermarkets found throwing away food close to its expiry date must pay a fine of 75,000 euros. The idea is for establishments to donate to charities or food banks in an effort to reduce waste. 20. The value of free time. The French have a balanced relationship between work and free time. They value the balance between professional and personal life, dedicating time to enjoy leisure, being with family, and practicing activities that bring pleasure. The concept of joie de vivre is central to French culture, encouraging the search for moments of happiness and satisfaction. 21. Love for nature. France is blessed with stunning landscapes, from the sun-drenched beaches of the Côte d'Azur to the majestic mountains of the Alps. The French have a deep respect for nature and enjoy spending time outdoors, whether in parks, gardens, or exploring the beautiful countryside. Preservation of the environment is an important concern in French culture. 22. The French time zone was established by the Germans. Before World War II, France had the same time zone as London. After the occupation, the Germans decided to change the time in France to the same time as in Berlin, for reasons of convenience and practicality. Since then, the French have maintained this German time zone. French culture is full of curiosities and particularities that make it unique and fascinating. From their appreciation for gastronomy to their reverence for art, fashion, and traditions, the French have a rich and engaging lifestyle. By exploring these curiosities, we can be inspired and appreciate the cultural diversity of the world. French culture is an invitation to explore new horizons and immerse yourself in an enchanting universe that enchants and captivates people around the world.